This is before the game ended. Before the game ended. She comes out in the locker room and posted this. Like, what are we doing?
Sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, is anybody on this team gonna stand up for Caitlin Clark? JC Sheldon grabbing Caitlin Clark all game, clawing at her. It's like tonight was a brawl, folks. Tonight was a brawl, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, is anybody on this team going to stand up for? And Sophie Cunningham.
What happens when Sophie Cunningham turns into a one-woman wrecking crew and bodyguards Caitlin Clark like it's her sworn WNBA mission? Oh, just a complete meltdown on the court, chaos in the Sun locker room, and Sophie handing out smoke like it's a buy one get one free deal. You're not ready for this level of spicy drama because when Sophie snapped, she didn't just clap back, she went full Avengers mode on the entire Sun team. Buckle up, this one's hotter than Angel Reese's Twitter feed.
Start with the play that set off the entire night. So as you guys can see here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin Clark. She swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin Clark nudges her off because JC stays in her face. And then Tina Charles runs over and is kind of wagging her finger in Caitlin Clark's face. And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin.
The moment Sophie Cunningham clocked in for her shift, the entire WNBA should have taken out insurance because Sophie didn't show up to hoop, she showed up to handle business. And by business, we mean personally escorting Caitlin Clark out of every cheap shot and high-key ambush like she was guarding a royal jewel in the middle of a street fight.
Welcome to WNBA Fight Night, or as some people are saying, WNBA Raw. What a game that was. We had it all. We had basketball, we had fighting, we had blonde on blonde crime. Oh, such an epic. Oh, goodness. But at the end of the day, it resulted in an Indiana Fever W. 88-71, taking care of business.
Forget teammate Sophie's moving like a Secret Service agent who moonlights as a demolition crew. You try to elbow Caitlin? Boom, Sophie teleports in like a WWE tag-in, ready to dismantle your shoe deal and your dental alignment in one move. You bump Clark after the whistle? Congratulations, you've just activated the full wrath of a professional enforcer with a jump shot and zero regard for your feelings.
Let's start here. This is, of course, Sophie and Sheldon going down the floor. Sophie tries to wrap her up, and Sheldon gets to the floor, and all hell breaks loose. And Sophie said, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. We'll go. We'll go. So there's that. That, of course, was all a byproduct of this right here, folks. And I mean, when I tell you social media is setting the WNBA on fire right now, not in a good way, that's the understatement.
She's not asking questions, she's delivering verdicts. The court becomes her courtroom, and the sentence is always the same: maximum pressure. This isn't protection, it's domination by proxy. Sophie has mastered the art of the perfectly timed shoulder check, the soul-snatching stare, and that try-me body language that makes even the most aggressive veterans think twice before stepping to the perimeter.
Of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on JC Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And JC Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
She doesn't wait for drama to unfold, she anticipates it, like she's been reading the opponent's group chat all week. If there's even a whiff of hostility, she's already inbound. Full Sophie Cunningham isn't here for post-game hugs. She's not holding hands during warm-ups. She's not tapping it up during shoot-arounds. No, she's operating on one frequency only: touch Clark, and you touch danger. Sophie is the WNBA's walking alarm system, permanently set to high alert. While others practice mindfulness and run team bonding drills, Sophie's out here running silent background checks with her eyeballs. One suspicious movement toward Clark? You might as well call a medic. The league isn't used to this kind of unwavering loyalty fused with nuclear-grade intensity. She's not gliding into games with a Zen playlist and a motivational quote. She's stomping into arenas like she's hunting for a reason, any reason to activate the chaos. Her presence alone makes sideline reporters shift nervously and teammates quietly thank the basketball gods she's on their side. This isn't energy you teach, it's instinct. The league hasn't felt this kind of volatile devotion since the days defenders played like bouncers with full access. Cunningham's taken that legacy, added a fresh coat of badassery, and thrown in a zero-tolerance policy for even the faintest hint of disrespect.
Good, and Sophie Cunningham put me out on a high note, folks. I didn't even say, Ben, calm down, regroup. I didn't even say that. Let's get straight to the play. Everybody, the plays everybody is talking about. First off, Marina Mabrey body checking Caitlin Clark to the ground. J.C. Sheldon all over her. Riding her. Pokes Caitlin Clark in the eye. Oh, man. Caitlin Clark needs to start wearing goggles, folks. Caitlin Clark's going to need to start wearing goggles. Bumps up on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark says, "Get your hands off me." And then here comes Marina Mabrey. Boom! Exploding Caitlin Clark like a safety coming downhill in the NFL. There was no flop there.
The WNBA hasn't seen this level of unapologetic ride-or-die energy in years. It's like Dennis Rodman with a girl boss twist and a deep-seated grudge against passive aggression. Cunningham doesn't just show up, she launches herself into the center of the storm and dares it to blow harder. Let's get real. Caitlin Clark walked into the WNBA with a target on her back so big it probably qualifies for its own zip code. Rookie of the month? Please. She was enemy of the month every month. And not just from defenders, but entire rosters, circling like it was open season on the rookie with the golden range. Some brought their game faces. Others brought petty grudges, ancient rivalries, and unresolved issues that had nothing to do with her but were unloaded anyway. Players weren't lining up to test her skill. They came to crack her spirit, but what none of them accounted for. Sophie Cunningham, watching every move like a hawk that skipped brunch and was starving.
About a minute and a half into recording this reaction earlier, with 1 minute left, and all hell broke loose between J.C. Sheldon and Sophie Cunningham, and it is very clear the Indiana Fever, some of these girls on this team are finally fed up. Once again, WNBA, we're not talking about your basketball. We're talking about the WNBA WWE Raw circus that you got going on right now. And we all know this incident with Sophie stems from the incident that was clearly not handled correctly by the WNBA and the referees.
They underestimated how quickly one woman could establish an entire no-go zone around her teammate, turning every threat into an opportunity for demolition. While Caitlin dealt with the chaos of being a headline magnet, Sophie became the storm chaser with a steel spine and a memory sharper than her crossover. This wasn't about stat sheets. It wasn't about highlights. It was about making sure Clark didn't have to flinch every time someone wound up a loose elbow. So while the league plotted, schemed, and whispered, Sophie strapped on metaphorical brass knuckles and made sure no one forgot, this rookie might be the future, but her present? It's heavily guarded, and here's what the league didn't realize: Caitlin didn't walk in solo. She had Sophie. And Sophie's not the kind of bodyguard who just walks you to your car and calls it a day. Sophie's the kind who dismantles the parking lot, flips the car, and personally handcuffs anyone who so much as blinked wrong on the way out, because for every shove Caitlin gets, Sophie delivers a spiritual awakening. And it's always televised.
All right, enough is enough. You know, at some point, the line gets crossed too often where something needs to be done and things need to be corrected. And that is certainly the case with the way things around Caitlin Clark are officiated. This is a constant problem now. You know, it is something that since the beginning, I've kind of like backed off on, because physical play is a part of sports. You know, going after a superstar and trying to rough them up a little bit to get in their head is a part of sports. But when it crosses the line, The referees need to do their job.
When the second Sun players tried to get cute with their hard fouls and sneaky screens, Sophie went full medieval, no hesitation, no excuses, just raw, primal basketball vengeance wrapped in a ponytail and a death stare. She didn't blink before. Inserting herself between Caitlyn and danger like she's been waiting her whole life to go full Terminator, and let's be clear, Sophie isn't pretending. This isn't a performance. It's not staged. She's genuinely not here for anyone's "we play tough defense" justifications while their teammate is out here trying to turn Caitlyn into a chiropractic case study. If you've got bad intentions. For Caitlin Clark, Sophie's already 10 steps ahead, setting a legally questionable screen and radiating enough intensity to get fined retroactively. At this point, it's not even about basketball. Sophie has moved past defense. She's entered the realm of active deterrence. You know that moment in a game when a player starts walking toward Caitlyn with that smug body language, like they're about to make a statement? Yes, Sophie sees it before the cameras do. And suddenly, that player's veering off to the bench. They don't even know why. It's just survival instinct.
WNBA, Kathy Engelberg. Hello, Earth to Kathy Engelberg. Are you going to step in and do something about this trash that's going on? Players are getting assaulted on the floor. Like, come on, Caitlin Clark could have really got injured right there, y'all. She could have really got injured by these haters, these jealous, hating players. They just jealous and hating, bro. She didn't even get ejected.
Because once you've been stared down by Sophie Cunningham mid-aim, your career choices start to unravel. And that's the thing, Sophie's not going 50%. She's not calculating fouls. She's not worried about fans chirping her on social media. She's the WNBA's unofficial sheriff, and she's not here to take notes. Even her own team knows the drill. You want to talk trash? Sophie's already 6 sentences ahead, louder, meaner, and armed with more receipts than your accountant in April. And let's not pretend she's reckless. This isn't chaos, it's precision. Controlled demolition in sneakers. She'll truck you with textbook technicality, smirk while you hit the hardwood, and casually help her teammate walk away like nothing happened. It's not even personal. Sophie just has a job to do, and that job is protect Caitlin Clark at all costs, while possibly rebranding the WNBA as a contact sport with a mandatory dental plan.
Caitlin Clark, please leave this league and let it crumble. Please, this league does not deserve you. All this hate from these black people, all this hate from these lesbians, these people in the media, just go play basketball somewhere else. Your fans will follow you. We will follow you wherever you go. But let this shit crumble and burn to the fucking ground, man. Let the viewership drop below 50%. Let them lose hundreds of millions of dollars again, man. Let them go back into fucking irrelevancy. Nobody giving a damn about none of these players. Just leave.
She's not asking for permission. She's not taking a vote. Sophie Cunningham is out here delivering full combatant consequences, and oh, did the Sun feel it? When the tension started bubbling, when players began circling Caitlin Clark like it was feeding time at the zoo, Sophie came flying in like a caffeine-fueled hawk with a grudge. Forget flags, she was the flag. The red one. The warning sign. The final boss. You'd think maybe, just maybe, someone on the Sun would have said, hey, maybe we don't start a physical war with the team that has a certified rage missile in a jersey. But no. This wasn't just a scuffle. This was a declaration of war. And Sophie was the general, the artillery, and the battlefield all in one. And as the dust settled, and Caitlin kept draining jumpers like nothing happened, Sophie stood there like a victorious gladiator, unfazed, unbothered, and completely uninterested. In your post-game analysis.
Nah. Enough's enough, bruh. Enough is enough, bruh. What is going on? WNBA, y'all need to get this under control. This is ridiculous. Marina Mabrey, you just put yourself in the Dejanay Carrington box. You dirty slime ball player, you come and blindside Caitlin Clark. Marina Mabrey assaulted and tried to fight Caitlin Clark today. This is ridiculous. WNBA, Kathy Engelberg, do something. Do y'all want to go back to 55 to 60% of the people not watching shit again? I normally don't cuss in my blogs, but forget that. This was bullshit.
Because Sophie doesn't need validation. She doesn't care about optics. She couldn't care less if your PR team thinks she's too intense. She came to enforce peace through maximum disruption, and let's be honest, every team in the league knows now, if you so much as sneeze in Caitlin Clark's direction, Sophie's already loading up with more intensity than a Marvel villain. She's not here to earn your respect, she's here to take your breath away, preferably while blocking your layup and leaving you with a stare that'll haunt your off-season workouts, like an elite bodyguard with built-in rage sensors, she detects. The vibe shift and goes DEFCON 1 the moment someone disrespects her teammate. It's almost poetic. You shove Clark? Sophie gives you an unsolicited chiropractic adjustment. You try to chirp during a timeout? Sophie's already waiting by the bench. Arms crossed, looking like your disappointed gym teacher who also bench presses aggression.
In this game, but first, let's talk about Sophie and JC. All right, JC Sheldon. My goodness, dog. My goodness. Now, honestly, I felt like Sophie might have wanted a piece of JC after the Caitlin Clark and JC kind of scuffle going on, right? Then this happened. Okay.
She's rewriting the rulebook on team spirit and replacing it with, "Don't make me end your season." Even commentators don't know how to handle it. They're trying to spin it as competitive passion, but deep down, they're just thankful. She hasn't jumped into the booth and blocked them for saying something dumb. This isn't team chemistry. This is organized retaliation, with sneakers and a game face, and now fans are catching on. They're not just tuning in to see Caitlin drop 30. They're watching to see when Sophie unleashes righteous fury on behalf of every uncalled foul from the last 5 games. It's become performance art. 1 minute it's basketball, the next, it's a full-on standoff between Sophie and anyone brave or foolish enough to try their luck. She's not just a player. She's a deterrent, you know. How, in nature, some animals have bright colors to warn predators they're dangerous. That's Sophie's face when she senses foul play. And by now, the entire WNBA has picked up on the signal, mess with Caitlin, and you're not playing basketball anymore. You're entering a personal episode of Survivor and Sophie is the fire, the storm, and the tribal council all in one.
See Caitlin Clark on the receiving end of something, and it's not called correctly. In fact, she gets a technical foul after getting poked in the eye and then shoved to the floor, and Marina Mayhew doesn't even get thrown out of the game. It's basically open season on Caitlin Clark, and the special whistle that she supposedly gets goes in the other direction. Flagrantly so. They got to put it to an end. I mean, she's the most valuable player in the league in the most literal sense. And somehow she gets the opposite of superstar treatment.
She doesn't argue, she acts. She doesn't protest, she prevents. Sophie's not here for your podcast interviews or your sneaky elbows. She's here to remind you loudly and with great enthusiasm that bullying will be met with equal and opposite annihilation, and she'll do it with a smile that says, "Try me again, and you'll need therapy." Because this is the Sophie Cunningham era now, and if Caitlin Clark is the future of the league, then Sophie is the security clearance. You want to make a name for yourself off a dirty play, you'll be making that name while trying to breathe through your armpit after Sophie folds you into a new yoga pose. She's the insurance policy, the bouncer, the line in the sand, and the WNBA just got a whole lot more entertaining because Sophie Cunningham doesn't do subtle, she makes statements. Loud ones, physical ones, unmistakable ones, and the message is crystal clear. Caitlin Clark is untouchable because Sophie said so, and if you've got a problem with that, you better pack a helmet and say a prayer. Because Sophie's coming, and she's bringing the thunder.